Erwin Rommel, the battlefield legend known as the Desert Fox. He was once one of Hitler's most trusted right-hand men, a general who commanded global respect and fear, but ultimately became a victim of the very regime he served. Behind the glorious battles lies a grim end, forced by Hitler to take poison. So could what you know about Rommel just be the tip of the iceberg? Behind the image of a military genius are untold secrets, thrilling stories that few dare to believe. Rommel was not just an exceptional warrior, he was also a bold innovator, with tactics and inventions that changed the entire face of warfare. He challenged the Allies in the scorching sands of the North African desert, turning harsh conditions into an advantage, transforming the desert into a battlefield of surprise attacks and encirclements that bewildered the enemy. However, internal conflicts with the Nazi regime and political maneuverings eventually left him in an inescapable position, a struggle that Rommel ultimately could not win. What made the Desert Fox an indelible symbol, and what mysteries still linger behind his fame? Was the North African desert, once the scene of his groundbreaking strategies, really just the place where Rommel touched glory? Or was it where all the tragedy began? Join us at History Journey as we uncover shocking truths and astonishing details about the tumultuous life of Erwin Rommel. Rommel experienced 16 major battles from 1941 to 1943-1. The Blitzkrieg of El Agheila, North Africa, a salute to the Allies. The Battle of El Agheila in March 1941 was Erwin Rommel's spectacular debut on the North African front, marking the beginning of his bold and controversial journey. Upon setting foot in the arid land, Rommel immediately led his troops in a daring attack, despite the Afrika Korps not being fully prepared. The victory at El Agheila was a declaration that the Desert Fox had arrived, with the goal not only of capturing territory, but also of changing the entire course of the war. Before Rommel's arrival, the Italian forces in North Africa were on the defensive, facing significant pressure from the Allies. But Rommel, with his courage and boldness, ignored warnings from other commanders. He chose to attack immediately upon arrival rather than wait for reinforcements. Rommel believed that speed and the element of surprise would leave the enemy unable to react. And thanks to this, the Germans turned El Agheila from a precarious position into a strategic stronghold. This battle was also highly controversial due to Rommel's risk-taking beyond conventional tactics. Many within the German army considered his decision overly audacious, especially given that the troops were not yet fully equipped and supplied. However, Rommel successfully turned the situation in his favor. He used a series of lightning attacks, moving quickly and striking at the Allies' weak points, forcing them to retreat and abandon El Agheila. The attack also carried an element of mystery, as Rommel seemed to have an uncanny ability to see through the enemy's plans, moving at an unexpected speed and deploying his armored forces with astonishing precision. Some people believed he walked a fine line between genius and madness by pushing his soldiers into dangerous situations. But it was this decisiveness that brought victory, establishing Rommel's reputation as not only a skilled commander, but also a strategist who transcended conventional boundaries. The Battle of El Agheila opened a new chapter on the North African battlefield, with Rommel ready to challenge all the rules and accept risks that seemed insane. He not only secured an important position, but also sowed fear and confusion among the enemy ranks, asserting that the Desert Fox would keep this battlefield in constant turmoil. The Special Campaign of Tobruk, slow but steady. The Battle of Tobruk, 1941, was a challenging and controversial campaign for Erwin Rommel in North Africa, lasting nearly 8 months and showcasing his characteristic stubbornness. After the rapid victories at El Agheila and Cyrenaica, Rommel decided to besiege Tobruk, a strategic port held by the Allies. Tobruk was an extremely important military position in the Cyrenaica region of Libya. Situated on the northern coast of Africa, Tobruk held a crucial role due to its favorable geographic location and the ability to provide significant reinforcements. For this reason, Both the German-Italian forces and the Allies viewed Tobruk as a must-hold objective at all costs. For the Allies, Tobruk was a safe seaport where transport ships could easily supply their forces in North Africa without facing the threat of ambush by Axis forces positioned further west. Tobruk helped maintain the Allies' ability to resist the advance of German and Italian troops while also serving as a base for launching counterattacks against Axis forces. However, unlike the previous Blitzkrieg victories, the battle for Tobruk turned into a prolonged war of attrition against the tenaciously entrenched British and Australian forces. Rommel was criticized for his risky decision to extend the campaign, despite warnings from other generals that he was being overly bold. Maintaining a large force around Tobruk for an extended period caused German supplies to run out quickly, while the Allies continued to receive reinforcements by sea. Did Rommel misjudge the enemy's resilience? Some German leaders believed that Rommel overestimated his ability to control the situation, and this strategy put his entire army in a dangerous position. Ultimately, in June 1942, Rommel achieved victory when Tobruk fell, bringing him significant reinforcements and acclaim. Rommel was promoted to field marshal, but the victory was also highly debated. Was the success at Tobruk proof of his extraordinary talent, or was it too high a price for Rommel's recklessness? The Battle of Tobruk became a testament to the clash between military genius and stubbornness, resulting in the renowned yet controversial reputation of the Desert Fox. The fiery battleground of Gazala, 1942, the strategic card. The Battle of Gazala, May-June 1942, was a fierce confrontation between two large forces, making it one of the largest and most significant battles in North Africa. The Allied forces, commanded by Neil Ritchie, had around 100,000 soldiers and 843 tanks, believing they had constructed an impenetrable defensive line in the Gazala area. British, Australian, Indian, and South African units dug trenches, erected fortifications, and deployed defensive systems supported by 3,200 artillery pieces and fortified positions, hoping to repel the advance of the German-Italian forces. In contrast to the Allies' formidable defensive forces, Erwin Rommel led a much smaller army, consisting of approximately 90,000 troops and 560 tanks, of which only about 200 were panzers, the main German armored vehicles. Although Rommel's forces were inferior in number, he had an army with high fighting spirit and excellent mobility. The Africa Corps, combining German and Italian forces, was ready to face the harsh challenges of the desert to achieve its strategic goals. On May 26, 1942, Rommel launched a daring attack. His forces crossed the arid desert, maneuvering to the south and launching a surprise assault on the flank and rear of the Allied defensive line. Rommel's armored units, with only around 200 panzer tanks, faced intense battles against a significantly larger Allied armored force. However, with his exceptional command skills and tactics of striking at the enemy's weak points, Rommel continuously broke through, causing chaos among the Allies and disrupting their coordination. General Neil Ritchie, despite having the defensive advantage, was unable to stop Rommel's surprise and powerful attack. The clashes were continuous, with armored battles lasting for days in the scorching desert heat. Over 3 weeks, the Allies lost more than 50,000 soldiers, including casualties and prisoners, and around 500 tanks, leaving their armored force almost shattered. Meanwhile, Rommel's forces also suffered heavy losses, with nearly 3,000 soldiers and 350 tanks lost. But thanks to his skillful maneuvering and flexibility on the battlefield, Rommel overcame all difficulties and eventually pushed the Allies back to Tobruk. On June 21, 1942, Tobruk fell, and Rommel achieved a major victory, capturing about 2,000 military vehicles, 5,000 tons of fuel, and taking over 33,000 prisoners. This victory was a severe blow to the Allies, especially since Tobruk had previously resisted the German siege in 1941. Rommel, with fewer troops and equipment than his opponents, achieved a feat no one expected. This victory not only solidified his reputation as a master tactician, but also provided the German forces with invaluable supplies, laying the groundwork for future ambitions toward Egypt and the Suez Canal.